Live from a messy room, it's Pop-O-Holics, a show about hot takes, hotter than hot, delicious, tasty pancakes. I'm your host, Christian Katie, and I'm joined, as always, by my two best friends,
Chris Conkling
and Brian Dupree.
Brian Dupree. If this is your first time coming to Pop-O-Holics, welcome, YouTube watchers as well as podcast listeners. That's right, we're on YouTube now, in case you didn't know. Look for Pop-O-Holics and then be disgusted by all the pimple popping stuff. We really have to work on our search engine optimization.
Get us to 100 subscribers on YouTube and we can fix that.
Yeah, then we can fix that. I watched a really interesting video on clickbait, so we got to incorporate some more clickbait. So I'm your host, Christian Katie.
Exactly what all the listeners
right, that
want.
Makes you seem so legitimate.
No, okay, so this video, it's on, I encourage all our listeners to watch this after, of course, listening to Pop-O-Holics, but is verisimilitude one of those? The channel it means like truthiness or whatever, and it talked about how there's like two types of clickbait, right? There's clickbait that's deceptive and clickbait that like is just helpful to get your video out there. So it's a word that it's got a stinky nomenclature about it, but clickbait's not all bad if it's like, oh, I'm glad that this thing excited me about content I wanted to see, right? There's a distinction.
Debunked in all caps.
Debunked. Clickbait is debunked by the Pop-O-Holics. What do we talk about?
Oh boy.
What do we talk about on this show? We talk about clickbait and how we just want to be clickbait, but in the most positive way. Tier 1 clickbait. You'll know after you watch that video what that means. Legit bait, which sounds like interesting search on certain sites. Anyway, so what do we talk about on this show? We talk about the latest news. That's for our YouTube watchers as well as podcast listeners. We got the new Star Wars Vision Disney Plus trailer that I just watched literally moments ago. We're talking about some new news in the MCU, as well as some new animation coming to HBO Max, as well as the casting announcement for the next Wes Anderson movie. And Brian's going to take us through the upcoming movies and releases for the coming week. And then exclusively for audio listeners only, we're going to be talking about what we've been consuming. Got the What If series that's going on, Schmageddon, Free Guy, Brian Schmigadoon, sorry. It's a word that doesn't mean anything, I don't think.
It's very true, yeah.
I'm excited to hear about this one, Chris.
More to come on that. And then I played the DLC for Marvel's Avengers, the Battle for Wakanda. Can you save this game? We're going to find out. But before we do any of that, let's dive into Brian's Wacky News Corner.
Welcome back, everyone. So as Christian said, the first piece of news that Christian luckily was able to catch right before the episode, Star Wars Visions is coming to Disney Plus on September 22nd, and the first trailer has come out for this. So the concept behind this show is going to be 9 animated shorts, 9 episodes from 7 different anime studios. This trailer looks absolutely incredible. I know all of us were pretty hot on The Mandalorian. Star Wars seems like it's in a space right now where they're allowing creators to be kind of out there and do different things. And you guys are mentioning, as Christian was watching the trailer, but this seems to, in the best ways, get back to the heart of what Star Wars is while adding this whole other style of animation on top of it that really is integral to the roots of where these stories came from. In the mind of George Lucas. So how did you feel about this trailer? This thing has got me pretty hyped for the show.
I'm very excited about this show. It surprises me that Disney is willing to go this far in a creative direction with a property like Star Wars, because since they've acquired the property, yes, Mandalorian's great, but like Disney has seemed to be playing it pretty safe when it comes to that franchise, and this seems like a big risk. They're letting these creators essentially do whatever they want with whatever types of stories they want to tell. All these episodes are going to be taking place during different periods of time within the Star Wars universe. This is just so exciting to me, like letting creators run free with this franchise. I think we're going to get some really interesting content. I myself am very excited to see the episode created by Trigger, which is an anime studio that I really like. They're responsible for the movie that came out 2 years ago, Promare. The one of the people that work at that studio also made one of my favorite animes of all time, Gurren Lagann. And I'm a fan of that like cartoony anime style. But then we also get some like really realistic anime styles that I'm excited for. all around, I think this is going to be super cool. I still haven't decided if I'm going to watch it subbed or dubbed yet. The dub cast, one of the episodes has like Neil Patrick Harris and Brie Larson in it, or not Brie Larson.
Allison
what's her
Brie.
name? Thank you, Allison Brie. I had a brain fart for a moment.
Also got Joseph Gordon-Levitt, David Harbour, Lucy
This is crazy.
Liu. Yeah, there's some big names attached.
So maybe I'll just have to watch it twice, once in Japanese and then once in English. But
Chris,
visually, this is
knowing
just
you,
going to be, I'm sure
you
I'll
will.
watch it twice. But this is just going to be a really fun show, I think. And it's fun because we don't know where it's going to go. I think that's one of the best parts. Christian, you just saw the trailer literally a couple minutes ago. How do you feel about this?
I didn't expect this, which is good. It's a good thing. I didn't think that they would go this full tilt in such a really creative, interesting direction. So I'm all for it. The animation looks awesome. I'm a big fan of Japanese style animation, especially when it looks this clean. There was a couple shots that were clearly computer generated that I'm like, I don't need that. You can just do a still beautiful image and that will be fine with me. I prefer that. So that was a little sad to see, but it was just one quick shot. It was a landscape like overview. Because it kind of betrays how really gorgeous the animation is. But other than that, yeah, I'll put this on for sure. This looks very cool. Even if the story sucks, as long as it looks as good as the trailer, it'll be a win for me because I'm just such a fan of this animation and seeing like lightsabers in full style. And I had mentioned before we recorded, I was like, this is like Star Wars full circle because of course George Lucas was inspired by Japanese samurai flicks and then made a Western science fantasy, and now we're getting a Japanese animated samurai Star Wars movie. So it was always meant to be. And so
the snake's eating its own tail, right?
Aurora Boris. Not Aurora Boris. What is it? Doesn't matter.
Ouroboros.
Ouroboros, yes, that's what it is.
Oral Boris.
Oral Boris. That's some guy down the street.
He's one of my favorite Star Wars characters. He's going to be a standout.
Slippery fella, though.
He's in some of the more seedy areas of the Star Wars universe, if you catch my drift.
Oral Boris.
Oral Boris.
Always eating out his own ass.
Oh, boy.
So, yes, that's Star Wars Visions.
Twitter
That'll be
content.
coming out in September. Yes, exactly. Moving on to something that is not as surprising of news. Anthony Mackie has officially confirmed that he's going to be Captain America in Captain America 4. So there's very little known about this at this point. We don't know if Sebastian Stan is going to be involved. But what we do know is that it's written by the head writer and creator of Falcon and Winter Soldier, Malcolm Spellman, along with a series staff writer, Dallin Musan. So if you like Falcon and Winter Soldier, you should be happy and looking forward to the next Captain America. I know we're all relatively big fans of where the Captain and Winter Soldier ended, and this is a pseudo spoiler for where that series ended, so I apologize for that. But yeah, Anthony Mackie coming back as Captain America, and the title, which I'm sure will change, is Captain America 4. So it seems like it's going to be a solo movie for him, which is exciting as well.
I just want to point this out because, I historically make a joke of messing up the name of that series. But to be clear, Brian, you just referred to it as The Captain and the Winter Soldier. And I just want to say it's a confusing ass title. And I'm proved correct.
The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, yes.
This is what happens when you market something with such a long title. It's Disney's fault, really, not ours.
Chris, what do you think about this news? I mean, this is expected, right? To be expected.
We saw this coming. I believe the day that the finale of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier aired, we found out that Anthony Mackie was going to be in Captain America 4. There were rumors that were floating around. So it's good to get official news. I'm really happy that Malcolm Spellman's coming back. Brian, the writer's name from the show, Musan, right?
So it's Malcolm Spellman and I apologize for pronunciation, Dallin Musan, I believe.
So he wrote, in my personal opinion, one of the best episodes of that whole series, episode 5, which has a lot of Isaiah Bradley material. And it has that scene where Isaiah is talking to Sam in like his living room, which I think is one of the best scenes in the whole series. So I think they've picked the best creative talent to come back and write Captain America 4. We still don't have a director, but I'm interested to see what they do with this project.
Spike Jonze.
That would be a very interesting choice.
Or Spike Lee. One of the Spikes. Spike Lee, probably.
Just someone named
give us
Spike.
a Spike.
I meant to say Spike Lee from the very beginning. Let's go radical. They're not going to do that, but I'm hopeful. It is. To me, it is. There's a lot on this. There's not a lot on a lot of Marvel films for me, like Ant-Man, the Quantum Leap, or whatever the hell that one's called. Whatever. I don't give a shit. They could have Bozo.
Quantum Mania.
Yeah, whatever. Have Bozo the Clown or the dude that smashed watermelons direct it. I don't care. It's got Paul Rudd. It'll be just fine, and that's cool. And if it's better than that, exciting. But we know it's going to have Paul Rudd being like, I'm kind of a dad and a superhero, and we're all going to have a great time. But Captain America, to me, is sacred material. They've had some of the strongest inputs in the MCU, and so there's a lot riding on this. So I love that episode as well, Chris. That's a great shout out, because that is one of the best. It is the best episode with the most like dramatic content that for my money that was worthwhile. So this is seeming promising, but I won't put past Marvel for putting out like just a fine movie. So we'll see. A lot riding on this though. The expectations are going to be high.
Yeah, so that's Anthony Mackie, who's officially going to be starring in Captain America 4. Next piece of news. I don't know if you guys are historical fans of the show Adventure Time. I had a roommate in college who was pretty much obsessed with this show, so I watched a decent amount with him as he watched it. But HBO Max has announced a new 10-episode series called Adventure Time, Fionna and Cake. That's coming to the service. So I think they've done 3, and they intend to do a 4th Adventure Time movie, which will be the end of the series proper. And this will be a spinoff. These 2 characters are the gender swapped versions of our main characters, Finn and Jake, who were introduced in the 3rd season of the show. If you're unfamiliar with this show, it's very much a kid's show, but also deals with like high level concepts and very insane psychedelic things while still being kid friendly, in at least not necessarily thematically friendly for kids, but in terms of
most
what
of that
they'll
stuff
sketch
ends
and
up going
understand.
over their heads, though.
It's a beautiful
Right,
Venn
exactly.
diagram of like your dad is high as fuck, and also he needs to watch a kid's show.
And you're 10 years old and can love it just for the beautiful
It's
images.
for high dads and children to
That
connect.
is exactly the demographic.
That sounds spot on.
And I'm
Yeah.
for it as someone who does not smoke at this point in my life. I still love Adventure Time because I feel high when I'm watching it, and I think that's important. So definitely once I mean I would probably dive into it regardless, especially if it gets good buzz. But very exciting news. HBO, it's a good. I think it's a good call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Christian, I couldn't agree more. I'm very excited to see this.
Dads who are
Yeah,
stoned and own HBO Max and have that's just good. Not only am I
It's a winning
excited because the
combo.
content is good, but it also like whoever made that decision at HBO Max, you're a genius. Because a lot of this streaming services game, people don't know this, is like kids content. Like you want good adult content because you want to make it worthwhile, but also you want enough crap to put on, for your kid because you're too busy to be a good parent. You're too busy getting high. But this allows,
Shade thrown. Wow.
Sure. All right.
but this allows you to get high and have fun, and your kid is entertained. So it's
Christian just completely alienating all of our high dads, all the high dads that watch our show.
no. I'm saying
Like,
great.
Get out of here,
no,
dads.
I am
He's
You're
saying
bad
this is a
parents.
niche market that they're being served.
niche
with this
market.
news.
Are you sure? Have you seen cannabis sales? They're pretty high. Have you seen the amount of Americans that are in fact fathers?
They are pretty high from what I understand.
pretty sky high. So I think going for the high dad market is the new like, I don't know, single mom. All right, Brian, get it the fuck out of here before I say something.
That's coming. That's
stupid.
Adventure Time, Fionna and Cake coming to HBO Max sometime in the future.
HBO Max. That's disgusting.
Oh, sorry. That's not great. That's not great. So the last piece
So
of
the
news.
next thing from HBO Max, Stinky and the Cheese. Stinky is an elephant who hasn't showered in 37 years. And his friend Dogbutt, who is literally a dog butt.
Oh, man.
I thought he was cheese. I lost track of the gag.
Me
to
too.
Be honest. But
Brian, what else we
last-
got?
yeah,
you
last
will
piece of-
gag this Friday with Stinky and the Cheese, exclusively on High BO Max.
Ugh. Um, oh, radio DJ
That streaming
sounds.
service is not going to last long.
Time will tell.
I don't know. Stinky
so
and the cheese, it brings the people in because you get the single. It stars. The elephant is a single mother, and it's also trippy. So it's for high dads and single moms. That's 4 quadrants right there. You're just nailing it.
that is an elevator pitch there, folks. Moving into the last piece of news proper. Over the last few weeks, there's been a ton of casting news for the latest Wes Anderson movie. His newest movie that's coming out this year, The French Dispatch, was supposed to be out a long time ago because of COVID, was delayed, but will be coming out later this year. But the hype is already building for his next movie, which is set to start shooting in Spain at some point, if it hasn't already started shooting. So announcements for this. We've got Bryan Cranston, Hope Davis, Jeffrey Wright, Liv Schreiber. We've got Adrian Brody, Bill Murray, Jason Schwartzman, Tilda Swinton. We've got Margot Robbie, Tom Hanks, and Scarlett Johansson. It's just like
You know what this was?
a who's who of Hollywood just decided to like travel to Spain, and they justified it by Wes Anderson making a movie. I'm totally here for it, though.
Wes Anderson's like, do you guys want to go on vacation? I mean, we kind of have to make a movie while we're there, but that's the secondary
it's like Knives
to us
Out
enjoying
too.
the trip.
It's just like everyone and their mom.
You
We're going
took
on
my
vacation.
joke. My joke was that Wes Anderson
I'm
woke
sorry.
up and saw the Knives Out like drops on who's in it and was like, uh-huh. Yeah, I'm Wes Anderson. Tom? You say, Mr. Hanks?
I think that's more appropriate. Yeah, Wes Anderson probably initially called him Mr. Hanks until one day Tom Hanks was finally like, Wes, you can call me Tom.
Wes, you can call me Tom. Oh, that's really terrible, Tom Hanks.
That was like if like Tom Hanks and Owen Wilson had a baby. That's what that just was.
But yeah, this is a lot of people that haven't worked with Wes Anderson before in this cast. A lot of the the staples that people know and love. But yeah, I'm always personally excited for Wes Anderson news.
Here's what's
we
exciting.
May do a
most
month at some
exciting
point. We
about-
should. It's overdue.
Absolutely.
Here's
Yeah.
what's most exciting about this news is that one of the best things that Wes Anderson does is he brings out interesting characters from actors who have played against, he plays characters against type, actors against type, rather.
Bruce Willis in Moonrise Kingdom.
Oh
Phenomenal.
yeah, just like he's able to take really great actors that have a lot of like star power and stuff, and then really just make them an against their type, and it's incredible. And so for that, I don't know what you're. Tom Hanks, will he become a no man? I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see.
So yeah, that is
Because he's
casting news
typically
for
an
the latest.
everyman.
All right, I didn't get it. I'm going to be honest. It was fascinating. I thought it was a Jim Carrey joke. Yes, man. It was unclear.
Bad.
Sorry.
You had to do a lot of
Harmonica.
you had to do a lot of linguistic and pop culture gymnastics to get that one. Did you get it? Let us know in the comments.
You're a true Pop-O-Holic if you got that deep cut. Yeah. So
And you might be
moving
on the spectrum like me. Anyway, Brian, what else is up?
So we're moving on to some stuff that's coming out this week. So in TV, we've got the latest season of American Horror Story that's coming to FX starting this Wednesday. So this is American Horror Story. The season is called Double Feature. So it's broken up into 2 halves. There's very little known about it at this point, but all it says is the first half is called Red Tide, which takes place by the sea, and Death Valley, which takes place by the sand. There's a short trailer for this that shows kind of some underwater baddies, some seemingly extraterrestrial baddies, and it's American Horror Story. I feel like at this point, if it's either you love this sort of show or you hate it, and I'm definitely on the love side of this show. I've seen the majority of the seasons. I think there's 2 or 3 that I haven't watched the whole things of, but I think it was season 6 where they did something like this, where it wasn't broken up into 2 halves, but in the middle of the season, the show takes a hard turn and really changes in an interesting way that made it one of my favorite seasons overall. But yeah, so this is created by Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk, who are just everywhere in Hollywood now. I know we've talked about them a bunch, and this was super delayed because of COVID as well. But yeah, it'll be out this Wednesday, the first episode on FX. The next piece of news coming out this Sunday, we've got Wicked in Concert on PBS. So this is co-hosted by the original stars, Kristen Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel, with performances by Mario Cantone, Gavin Creel, Ariana DeBose, Cynthia Erivo, Stephanie Zhu, Rita Moreno, Jennifer Nettles, Alex Newell, and many others. And yeah, this is coming to PBS. It is a celebration of Broadway being back, and also a celebration of Wicked itself, with reinterpretations as well as new songs that are about or associated with the Broadway show. I was lucky enough to see a play of Wicked in Tampa in high school, and it's really great. It's very much a 4-quadrant play that is easily enjoyable by most people who are going to see it.
By single moms and high dads, Brian?
It hits the main HBO boxes, yes. But this is PBS, so it's more accessible. But yeah, it's got, if you haven't seen the stage play, it's got some really theatrical moments combined with incredibly brilliant music that is really worthwhile if you're into musicals, as well as a fun reinterpretation of the story of The Wizard of Oz, which is what Wicked ultimately is.
You know, I saw Wicked also a long time ago. It was one of the first big traveling Broadway shows that I saw. I accidentally switched to Chris for a second. Now we're back on me. I saw Wicked, and it's phenomenal. It's got really great. One of the under talked about things is how good its set design is too.
Oh, yeah, people
love it. I mean, I heard the soundtrack before I saw the show, and I was sick of it, and I did not love the music. But the whole package is worth seeing. And that Kristen Chenoweth, wow, what a talent!
Oh, yeah. Both her and Idina Menzel are just insane. And when they're singing together, my God, angelic, truly. But yeah.
You will defy gravity once you hear.
Oh, well done. Well done, sir. Good stuff.
I just was proving to the listeners that I have indeed.
He has seen it. He knows the popular song. Moving on to some movies that are coming out this Friday. We've got the long-awaited Candyman, written by Jordan Peele, Wynn Rosenfeld, and Nia DaCosta, who is directing the film. And this is a direct sequel to the first in the series, Candyman, from 1992, which is based on a short story called The Forbidden by Clive Barker. And this stars Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, the second. Oh my gosh. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, as well as Teyana Paris, Nathan Stewart Jarrett,
Richard III, the third,
Corinthians 2. This is
the sequel.
Oh boy.
As well as Nathan Stewart Jarrett, Coleman Domingo, and Tony Todd and Vanessa Estelle Williams, who are reprising their original roles from the 1992 film. So I'm going to read part of the premise for this very quickly if you're unfamiliar with Candyman. For as long as the residents can remember, the housing projects of Chicago's Cabrini Green neighborhood were terrorized by the word-of-mouth ghost story about the supernatural killer Daniel Robitaille, a.k.a. the Candyman, easily summoned by those daring to repeat his name 5 times into a mirror. Classic stuff. In the present day, a decade after the last of the Cabrini Towers were torn down, a visual artist named Anthony McCoy and his girlfriend, an art gallery director named Brianna Cartwright, moved into a luxurious loft in Cabrini, now gentrified beyond recognition, inhabited by upwardly mobile millennials. With Anthony's painting career on the brink of stalling, a chance encounter with Cabrini Green old-timer exposes Anthony to the tragically horrific nature of the true story behind the Candyman. And I would recommend not watching this trailer if you're at all interested in the movie, because I think it gives away some decently far into the movie plot points that you probably don't want to know about this prior to going in. But I only saw the first movie, Candyman, for the first time in the last year or two, maybe 2 years ago. And it kind of gets trashed by people, but I was a bit blown away by how good it was and how it held up and kind of like what it's trying to say in some respects. I think there may be some problematic stuff that would get into spoilers. But yeah, so that's the Candyman, which is going to be coming out this Friday in theaters only at this point. The next movie that's coming to Hulu is called Vacation Friends. So this is directed by Clay Tarver, who co-wrote the screenplay with Tom Mullen, Tim Mullen, Jonathan Goldstein, and John Francis Daly, and stars John Cena, Lil Rel Howery, Yvonne Orji, Meredith Hagner, Robert Wisdom, Lynn Whitfield, and Andrew Batchelor. In the premise of this movie is very simple. A couple is mortified when some casual friends from a vacation crash their wedding. So very simple plot. It's got John Cena going completely over the top, as we all want him. And
yeah,
this really looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
When we were talking about Suicide Squad, we mentioned that I think John Cena really thrives in the comedy genre, and I'm excited to see him in this movie.
Cock Blockers, Christian's favorite movie of 2018.
I need to see this movie.
2018.
2018, yeah.
Yeah.
Blockers, man.
Oh, it's called Blockers. You're right. It was like Cock Blockers was its.
But there was like a rooster behind
No,
it or something.
it was an implied. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, so that'll be out on Hulu this Friday. The last movie that's coming out this week to Netflix is He's All That. So this is a gender-swapped remix of the 1999 film She's All That, which, excuse me, I haven't seen, so I can't speak to. But this one is directed by Mark Waters from a screenplay by Arlie Fleming Jr. And the premise of this is Paget Sawyer accepts a challenge to turn the school's least popular boy into prom king, attempting to avenge herself following a humiliating fallout with her boyfriend. And will they fall in love with each other?
Guaranteed.
They probably will fall in love with
I
each
think it's
other. But that's
guaranteed.
okay.
Hold on,
That's
from
what we want
watching
this movie.
early 2000s rom-coms, I think I can become the hot
All right.
guy. Hold on, ready?
Yeah,
You ready
break
for
it
this?
down.
Ready for this? Nerd, not the hot guy. My books are everywhere. Hold on, Sally's gonna give me a makeover.
Who is that? Dear God.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
Did I
mysterious.
drop my books? I'm so sorry.
You're like a different person.
Now he's
It's
not
amazing.
clumsy. It's kind of elegant. This
Yeah, all
is-
you gotta do is
wow.
lose your glasses.
He is
and
all
you're
that.
The hot guy, or the hot girl. I don't know if it works for men. Let us know in the comics.
So yeah, that's that movie. He's All That is coming to Netflix this Friday and stars Addison Rae, Tanner Buchanan, Madison Pettis, Rachel Lee Cook, and Peyton Meyer. So yeah, check that one out on Netflix this Friday. And that's it for the news this week, guys.
Brian, amazing, super wacky news, as per usual. Well,
Wacky and tight. So tight.
I like them.
Anyway.
That'll do it for the news section of the weekly upload and the YouTube video. But before we go, Chris, where can people find us around the internet?
Christian, our loyal listeners and viewers can find me on Twitter at Chris Conkling, talking about all things nerdy.
And you can find me over on Twitter at True Pop-O-Holic.
And you can find my band at Midnight Satire. When is this? What is this? The date on the weekly upload, Chris?
Oh,
The
gosh.
23rd.
The 23rd.
23rd. Oh my goodness, we are 2 weeks away from new Midnight Satire. You can find that. That's my band at Midnight Satire, streaming on Spotify and Apple Music, and you can find me on the social medias, which is very exciting. And you can find more Pop-O-Holics if you want all of us down below on YouTube or in the About section, the show notes on the podcast player. You can find our link tree to find all our social medias as well as our streaming service, our podcast feed.
We have a new streaming service?
Yeah, it's called Pop-O-Holics Dolby Atmos Plus. It's in 7D. It will literally the music will literally hurt you.
Stay tuned for it.
You can find our YouTube. All right. If you want to listen to what we've been consuming and our community feedback section, I suggest you subscribe to the podcast, which you can find in that link tree. Bye.